Hey, everybody, welcome to the Punch Podcast with me, guest host Jim Mills, and Derek Stroman. Today's special guest is Tim Fazenbaker.
What's up, everybody?
Tim is currently running for Baltimore County District 9, right?
Yeah,
District 9.
The new district.
The new district.
Be Dundalk, Dundalk, Edgemere, Sparrows Point, and parts of Rosedale.
Parts of Rosedale, correct. They expanded the district and actually made two more.
They made 2 more districts, so we have 9 total. We're coming from 7. Essex used to be part of this district. It's no longer with us.
Has the population increased in Essex? Is that why they...
Yeah, good question. So, a lot of people don't understand. The typical councilman right now has about 125,000 constituents in their district. The new districts have about 100,000.
So they should be able. Technically, the idea is they should be able to serve their constituents
a little easier, because you have less people. It's still a battle. And one thing we'll talk about with Rosedale, unfortunately, Rosedale's split. So Rosedale is the stepchild in a sense with the political games where they're not one unit anymore. So, a lot of people in Rosedale don't necessarily have much in connection with, say, Edgemere. But then their neighbor across the street might be in a different district. And they're like, but you're in Rosedale. So it's just the way they worked it out with their maps. So we got to start thinking of Rosedale as our brother now.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Yeah, certain parts of Rosedale is now in the
Rosedale.
District 9.
And the one thing people don't realize is if you guys know where Yaya's Bakery is.
Yep.
That's how far our district goes.
To Yaya's?
Yes. Right there on King Avenue. That's Nottingham Middle School. Our district goes all the way up into that area.
Yeah, you cut 25,000 people, so you're going to end up cutting some of, redistricting. All right, so what I would like to talk about tonight, or this first thing, is East Point Mall, and because I know you've been behind that a little bit, and so what's actually going on, and then I do want to, before we start with that, because there's been some nasty rumors. What's your opinion on data centers?
Oh, the rumors. Okay, look, I'm going to start with why I like AI. I'll start with that first, and then I'm going to tell you how this all connects. I've been behind the scenes for years advocating for AI healthcare. If you do a lot of research on a company called BioNTech out of Germany, and you look at Russia and you look at England, they have been doing AI cancer healthcare. They've been curing people of cancer. Now, I don't know the full numbers. Curing, yes. Now, they're calling it a vaccine. I'm not going to I don't know all the details, but basically what they're doing is if you have a tumor, they're pulling that tumor out, and then they are running it through AI, and it's saying there's 300 possible mutations that could happen. Here's exactly how you kill all those mutations. They come up with the medicine, they inject it back in the person, and that person has been cancer-free. Now, my personal story with this, about a year and a half ago, I was watching YouTube and I saw a clip from the BBC. It was the first English patient to ever go through colon cancer or rectal cancer with the new AI healthcare stuff. He was from Zimbabwe originally, and I forget his name, but I looked him up and I shot him a message and I forgot all about it. 9 months later, he reached out and said, "Thank you. I just got your message. I am the first patient. I am cured. Technically, I go every single month because I was the first patient and they check me for everything." So just knowing that is around the corner and what AI can do, I've always wanted to say, we have Hopkins right here. We have University of Maryland Medical System. We could be in the forefront of the world for AI healthcare type stuff around here. So as I started talking about that on the campaign trail, people started saying, well, we don't want data centers. And I'm not talking about a data center. But right now, where AI data centers is a negative there's a negative perception to it. So the community clearly said, hey, we don't want data centers. And I said, then you don't get data centers. So whatever you guys want. It was never my intention to do data centers. I really want to attract these bright minds to come here and be the forerunner of the world to actually cure some of these bad diseases. And that's my point on all of it. And I'm not going to do any data centers, anything along those lines. Although I don't know what is in the works already with the county council, and that's the things that I'll have to find out when I get in there. And that kind of leads into East Point Mall.
Because
That's why I brought it up.
They probably already have some kind of, maybe not so much etched in stone agenda, but they have an agenda. They know what they want to target. And then once you get inside, as you said, you'll be able to figure out what they're really focused on and what you're going to do to whatever, either support or, add your input.
Yeah. So with East Point Mall, I own some rental homes. I actually grew up in Colgate, and I was still involved in I rented it out to people, and I would go to the community meetings in Colgate. We met with the GM at East Point for many years. He'd come to the meetings, and we would have these conversations about what's the plan for the mall. We knew it was dying. They're dying all over the country. And they were building, what is that called, Area 57 or Yard 57 down by Bayview. And that was going to be their flagship in a sense. So they were like, well, we're going to be anchored off of that. We don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to leave East Point for a while. When these plans started getting leaked and I started running through the plans, and I'm sitting there going, they made 10 different adjustments to the plans, which have been approved to basically make large warehouse style buildings. We don't know what's going to go in those warehouses. Now, there is a moratorium apparently from the county council to not allow data centers to be built, but it's government. You never know what they're going to do. There's always smoke and mirrors. So I don't have an answer on that exactly, but we are keeping an eye on it very closely.
My issues with data centers is they need to be, one, self-sufficient. I don't think they should withdraw resources from local municipalities, and then still get the tax breaks that they are demanding. And then also, if you've recently, there's just been some news stories that came out nationally where you've had some rogue AIs hack different companies without being told.
I'm not familiar with that, but
that's my biggest concern.
Now,
the AI healthcare, I am all for that. Any way that we can make people healthier and cure disease, 100%. But that other part is the scary part.
No, we're all old enough because we're all old.
Terminator.
I was talking to a young man today. His name's Andrew. We'll probably bring him up in a little bit too. And he was talking about AI, and he initially said he had an issue with me because he saw that I talked about AI, and he didn't realize I was talking about healthcare. Now, and again, when I was talking about AI, I didn't even know what a data warehouse was at the time. I was just thinking about the healthcare part. But he started talking about what he was afraid of, and I said, "Have you ever seen Terminator? Because you were probably born after the third one was made." And we all know that these types of things are possibilities. So there's got to be regulations and checks and balances. It's got to be like an FDA where we're controlling these things so that we exist and we don't get killed.
But then again, they broke out.
Yeah,
it's not a closed system, and that's the scariest part.
Yeah, and I will say to your first point though, yes, I agree. I don't want greedy people, powerful people just getting more money and putting that burden onto the cost of us. And so, yeah, they should be paying for their own power. For years that I've been researching this, Japan and China have been putting these things on water. So it's been saving on energy cost, which I think is a good thing. The one question I have, though, is, well, what does it do for the environment in the water? So I don't know if it changes the heat,
temperature
things that there are plenty of things that I think can happen, that it would be good, but we need to be prepared for it, because if we don't, other countries are still going to do it. We're going to fall behind. So we got to be self-reliant at least on and have this done correctly.
I agree. All right. So next, let's move on to Fort Howard. And any new developments there, or any bad developments there?
So one thing with Fort Howard that I haven't announced to anybody is we did get an email back from the Department of Veterans Affairs. So this is kind of a big thing. I don't want to give anybody false hope, but the Veterans Affairs Department came back and said, we do know that we're using an enhanced use lease with Sam Himmelrich to basically develop that area down there. But they said, we would like to see any type of proposals you have from a company like Wounded Warriors or Tunnels to Towers, anything like that, which meant to me, they know what's going on and they know the community does not want that development for strict development. They want to be able to do something to give back to our veterans and honor the community. I've already reached the Tunnel to Towers. We've had conversations. I don't know if they're going to be interested. We're in talks with other people to see, are you interested in doing something? Now, they'd have to put their own investment in to help the veterans and help, whomever may, first responders, whatever they would do. So it's a big sell to them. And, we've been trying to work on that angle. So I don't know what's going to come out of it, but the fact that the Department of Veterans Affairs came out and said, we'd like to see proposals means they are now taking us seriously.
That's always a positive in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's good. Let's see what else. Since you're here, we go. So you're running for county council.
Yep.
So what are your realistic goals that you would like to see? Realistic. Again, I don't want to see I don't want to hear no, off the wall stuff that you're never going to get done.
We're going to build a base on Mars.
Right. Good, Elon.
I want to hear about the space. The spot on Mars, because you know what, this planet is not going to last forever.
We're going to call it Dundalk. Dundalk Mars.
And I want to, I want some stake there. I want to be called
New
Lord Derek Sherman,
whatever.
part owner of Mars.
We did have Mars in Dundalk.
Oh yeah, well, we had
all
the Mars.
It's called Weiss now.
All the Marses are gone.
Yeah. Yes, is realistic goals. I mean, I always preface it with this. I don't know what I don't know. I think I know enough that when I get in there, I can turn a lot of stones and start making headway right away. I've worked with some of the current council members and I've been involved in this for a while, so I have a good understanding of what I think I'm getting into, but there will be hurdles. What I want to do first and foremost is address the cost issue. And years ago, there was the bag ban tax thing that we have going on here. And right or wrong, we can't get bags when you go in the stores, or you have to pay. One store, we went to, I'm not going to say the store, but one of the grocery stores. I went in and I said, hey, how much is a bag? 30 cents. I was like, 30 cents?
What, for just a
bag? Right. Now, the lady she said it was 30 cents, but I think other stores are charging around $5.
Nickel.
So
10-cent top.
Right. So what I personally would love to see is, okay, if you believe that it's doing the right thing for the environment, I get that. How about instead of having these businesses like Walmart or these major corporations get all 5 cents of that bag tax, well, a bag fee, how about some of that go towards Baltimore County constituents? So it would go into the revenue. We're already paying it anyway, so why are the big businesses getting it? And then how about giving like the first 2 bags for free when people go in? Because I go in a Wawa, and I'm sure you guys have too, and you're like, oh man, I have a bag. And so there has to be a give and take. And right now, the people who are winning on this are just the big corporations that are getting all the money just from bags. We should be getting something from it, and it shouldn't necessarily be an inconvenience for us. While we're trying to do the right thing, I think we can actually accommodate people and say, here's a bag or 2 before you have to pay anything. And then the rest, some of it goes to the business, some goes to the taxes.
Yeah, they ask you now. They ask you now, do you want a bag? Back when we were coming up, and like you said earlier, we're all approximately similar ages. It was they just put your stuff in the bag.
They put it in the bag.
They just put it in the bag.
At first it was paper bags.
And like we're thinking about it. And when they ask you, you're thinking, I wonder if this bag's going to cost me something.
Well,
like,
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like you never thought like that before. It was just
see, I hate to argue. I mean, you do see the bags everywhere.
You do.
So, they're all over the street, all over everywhere. So I do
not so much anymore though.
That's correct. Right. So there has been a shift.
Listen, I'm not mad about it.
But I used to use them for trash bags in my bathroom. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. That's what it was.
Same here.
Everyone doesn't think the same. I don't litter. So,
Right.
But if but again, that's government taking control, telling you that we can get you to understand better. And how they did that was to say, guess what? We're going to make you pay. You don't like to pay, you're not going to buy the bag because you don't want to pay for the bag.
No,
And
buy reusable.
and guess what? And guess what? There's less bag, trash, plastic on the streets.
I got like 30 reusable bags between my wife's car and my car.
Listen, I don't always knock the government decisions. I'm not, I'm not that guy that's always that conspiracy theory. The government's always bad. No, sometimes you need, I'll call it policing. You know what I mean? Just an understanding of, to keep, quality control.
In my business, I call it train your customers, because you got to train your customers a certain way. Just times the things.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. Is you're just retraining everybody to do something different. That's all.
So when we were young, and I got to say for the record, I'm probably the youngest out of the three. Throwing that out there so you guys see that right here.
He's not that young.
But when we were young,
I'm still better looking.
Yes, we were told, okay, we need to go away from paper because we were destroying the trees.
Yes.
So we
Went to
remember
plastic.
that. And if you guys remember, like I still do this to the day, and some people have laughed at me if you get a 6-pack plastic container holder thing, like if you're getting 6 beer or whatever, I cut them all up. And somebody goes, "Why are you doing that?" I'm like, "So the dolphins don't get stuck in it."
The turtles.
And yeah. So that's what we were told growing up. Now, maybe it's true or not, but the one thing with the paper bags is we were taught that we're hurting trees. So are we not hurting trees now by using paper? We can plant more trees. I think paper is better than plastic.
You're pushing.
It's biodegradable. It just disintegrates after a period of time. But it's still, like you said, ends up in the ocean. We were just down the ocean, by the way. Shouts out to Giant Lang, Patty Lang down the ocean right now. And while we were in the ocean, we saw paper.
Yeah. Well, that paper can be recycled too. So they do have, there are recyclable portions with the paper. So
I mean, it's one of those things that's going to happen, right?
Right.
The idea is to reduce it, right? And that's
Correct.
the idea. Like these things happen, but if we don't monitor it and try to keep control over it, then it gets out of control, right? So that's all.
So really, to answer that question, the way I look at the role of an elected representative is you protect our God-given rights. So the first and foremost thing should be taking care of the people that we represent. And right now, safety and cost of living, those are things that are paramount. Now, all the other things like the environment, all that stuff is paramount as well. But if in a situation like this, we can argue whether we even should have had this fee for bags and whether we're banning them. But at this point right now, the 5 cents or whatever that is going to these businesses, it really should be going back to the county, back to us, so that we can do something. And the biggest area of waterfront is this district. We have, I think, 110 miles of waterfront in this new District 9.
Everywhere you go, where I live on Stratman Road in Dundalk, I'm in an alley. Okay, I'm on land side. On the other side of the alley, there's homes, waterfront. That's how it is. Alley, street looks like regular. Hey, everyday business. The other side, people with boats and all that living on the water.
And 11:30 at night, every night on Stratman, you will see him shirtless out front of
Please don't
his window.
Go by. It's
but part of, and so to go into the kind of what I'm looking for next, realistically, is, and this isn't just a local issue, but we would need other partners involved, is really to make our waterfront luxurious, not like Beverly Hills I'm talking, but it needs to be a selling point. So when we talk about like paper bags and how we put guardrails on these things, or the paper plastic bags, we think about 125 years ago or whatever, when they were building the steel plant and they were developing Dundalk, they didn't really think about the environment.
Yeah.
So they destroyed a lot of the land, a lot of the water, and we're still dealing with it today. So whether it's AI that may come down here one day, or whether it's these bag bans, these are things that we need to be cautious and conscious of, so that in the future, 125 years from now, they don't look back at us and go,
right,
"What the hell were these guys doing?" Yeah.
Let me say this real quick, and Mills touched on it a little bit earlier. You guys kind of briefly brushed over it, if you will. But okay, let's get with this AI stuff. So we mentioned the data centers. The company I work for, Baltimore Industrial, I deliver the data centers every single day, and one of my routes, I'm delivering to 5 to 6 data centers a day, different companies. So think about that for a minute. So, but this is primarily Virginia area and all that. So Virginia is being overloaded right now with a lot of construction of data centers. Okay, which is to collect all this data that we're doing right now. Like, that's what a data center. It actually emphasizes the name. It's a data center to collect information, right? And so we keep putting out more information. They need a place to store it. So that's what they're doing now. My question to you is: you mentioned Terminator, right? So with AI, do you really? Are we making AI so intelligent now to the point where you think it will outthink us? Because it kind of is already, right? Outthinking us. We ask it questions every day but we created it. So think about that. You created it, Mills, but you created it to ask it questions.
Well, it does learn, so it is a learning tool. But again, when you have, like I was talking earlier, the rogue AI, and I was Chat GPT, and another one went off by itself and hacked a different company.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at that is what's next.
Skynet, maybe. Skynet. So just
my thing is, at this point, until we can successfully put programming in place, they should be on a closed loop, which means they can't get out. There's no internet connection to them. But that's me personally.
Well, what do you ask ChatGPT or AI, and what don't you ask them? I'm sitting with a bunch of my buddies. Hey, let's ask ChatGPT if something that you're not supposed to be asking ChatGPT or anything online, and then all of a sudden you're red flag for asking how to build a bomb or do something that you're not supposed to be asking, and then does chat answer that question for you? That's
I don't know. Why don't you look?
I'm
not getting.
I have an example.
I'm not getting shanked.
So I do use Grok. Grok is Elon Musk's version of it on X. There was one time a few months ago, I asked a question. I don't remember specifically what it was, but Grok said, "I will never answer what you just asked," and it was something about it might have taken my message as a threat to like harm someone or the death of someone. I don't remember. It was something along those lines, and I'm like, that's not what I meant at all.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I was asking about. This guy Mills. Tell me about Mills.
Are you looking to knock off?
It wasn't.
It's so out there and accessible. So that's the thing. It's accessible to everyone. I'm watching these, the shows I watch, and then half of the commercials now are starting to come in talking about AI and what AI can do for you and how it's been upgraded, how you can actually have real conversations.
You're talking about, these are people that have investments in AI, and their goal is only to make money. They don't give a damn of what the consequences are in the future. Their only goal is to pad their pockets. Now, that's it.
I will say I agree. Well, let's talk about Northern Virginia, because you were talking about down there. The infrastructure has to be there in this 22nd century that's coming up, because the government's going to need it to protect us. And look, the government's the biggest of all corporations. Of course, they have their own interest, and they're going to be malfeasance and stuff going on there. But we do need to have those guardrails in place. And I want to say this before I forget, and I don't think we've ever talked probably religion, and I usually don't go into religion. But the question about AI with how far it can go is, what is consciousness? We've never seen something become conscious. Will that happen? I don't know. We've seen Terminator, so are we biased to think that does happen?
We've created almost every concept, outlook, years and years ago. I'm talking about before even we were born.
If Hollywood can think it up, it's going to happen.
Of concepts that today exist, and they didn't exist back then. they had all this stuff happening. So, it just goes to show how powerful the mind is, the human mind is. So we're creating these things. So are we creating our own demise?
Well, look at it this: if you guys remember, we may, because you guys are old enough. You'll
Talk for yourself.
Yeah.
You're the oldest at this
Gene
panel.
Simmons and Tom Selleck was in a movie together, and it was Gene Simmons was making drones to kill people.
I could see that actually with him.
Yeah, but how were they thinking of that back then? So think about it. They're
Well,
thinking
and
of
that's
this
and this
before
is
it
where
exists.
this is where it's called DARPA. That the people thought about this about 20 years ago.
So remember, Captain James T. Kirk would have flipped this thing open. So yeah,
Warp
What are you
drives,
talking about?
wormholes.
yeah.
Agent 86 used his phone, used his shoe to make a phone call.
Contract.
Inspector
Get smart.
Gadget, yeah, get smart. That's it.
Get smart, used his shoe to make a phone call, bro.
I mean, we loved it, but there was some smart guy that Cobra
Tracy?
Commander. I mean, these guys. And listen, you gotta love it. You gotta appreciate mankind.
Yeah.
As much as we like to destroy ourselves, we love to grow as well. It's just like it's like an equal balance.
I've always said that we're explorers. We have to explore. That is what we are. We have to explore.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we get bored. And
Yeah,
bored minds,
And then we blow up stuff.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Let's keep our
What
people.
would look like if I could blow that container over there? How many fragments of glass would splatter
Don't
throughout?
think. Look, somebody already thought about it.
So we don't want to. We don't want to see that in District 9.
No. We're just going off here. But
Go ahead.
back to data centers. The data center in Utah used 126 million gallons of water.
That's the thing. It's the water that's being consumed.
Right.
Now they're consuming that water from wells, from my understanding.
Correct. Now they can put it on a closed loop, in which they use a specific type of electric light. I don't think it's an electric light, but chemical to withdraw the heat. But that's the cost of that is really high.
Yeah, and there's been talk about putting it actually in low Earth orbit, in space, basically, where the temperature is low enough that it's going to really cut energy and stuff like that. If somebody's thinking it, it's going to happen eventually.
They thought about it.
So, but if you think about, we're becoming old fuddy-duddies, right? So when cell phones first came out, people were like, "Oh, this is no good. You're going to get cancer." Maybe you still do. I don't know.
Too much
But,
radiation.
Yeah, and then you're spending all your time on the phone, and maybe we are. But they said the same thing about pagers. They said the same thing about Atari. Same thing about TVs. So maybe 50 years from now, people look at this conversation like these guys are idiots. But we are having the appropriate conversation to make sure that we are on the right track, so
Right.
that in 50 years you can have that conversation.
Right.
Because we are proverbially, whether willing participants or not, guinea pigs to the operation. Like we are the ones that will show and prove, because it's at some point it's going to show up, right? It's going to be like, hey, well, you know what, you suffer from this or you suffer from that, and then our medicine, our technology as far as the medical field is also advancing, because that's how they're figuring out all this stuff. It just continues to advance.
Well, they just came out with a third stage trial about melanoma and how the one drug they're using has shown that it's prevented melanoma from coming back.
Yeah.
So, and that's a MVRE, I think it is, based, vaccine.
And they stopped the tremor the other day with an ultrasound in a patient who had Parkinson's. I don't know if you saw that.
Right.
And it was all over like major news. And I'm sitting there going, there is so many advancements. So there are definitely risks with AI. There are definitely hindrances when it could be our costs go up or the threat and deaths and destruction. But there are so many great things. We just need to make sure that we stay on the great things, because think of how many things we can cure. And I'll say one thing politically to tie it all back in. A lot of times I'd get into debates in my current political positions that I've been in and elected to and stuff like that. And I would pull information right away and people would say, that's not true. And I would say, here it is. And they would say, how did you do that? I'm like, I just pulled it through AI. and AI can reference all that stuff. So the average person who doesn't know a lot about the secrets of politics and all the little rules that are written, you can throw it right in AI and it gets trained, and then it goes, this is the real thing.
Sometimes AI is wrong.
And I've seen that happen too.
Sometimes GPS is wrong, and I think that's a form of AI. Like so, you got to know. And I made that point made that statement to say that you got to know when to, believe in it and when not to. So I'm a driver. I drive every day, so I know when I'm going to decide to listen to Siri when she talks, or do I want to take the detour that's going to take me somewhere else that's going to put me in more traffic, and then the time accumulates once you hit the traffic. Like they're telling you what they see in the future. They can, it's intelligence to the level that it's seeing things.
It's real time traffic.
Yeah, but it's more than that. It's navigating you through miles and miles of what they predict is going to happen. It's telling you what's happening miles down the road that you cannot see. We didn't have that.
Well,
when
it's because of this.
Yeah, but to your point,
how much do you
believe in it? How much
that tracks everything you do, bro. How fast you're going.
Oreo orange, everybody.
That tracks everything you do. How fast you're going, where you're at, your GPS location, everything. So if you're on 95, going up 55 miles an hour, it'll come up because people already went through that area and say, hey, this is what's going on. So that's why
you remember.
It's a prediction market.
I'll never forget being with my dad and, God rest his soul, Abraham Stroman III. I'll never forget when he used to have the
maps.
The
books.
The
radar detector.
You remember the radar detector?
It goes off everywhere. Somebody have an alarm, system.
Like,
it would go off.
Son, don't worry, that's just somebody's alarm.
Right.
But now it's perfectly fine. They tell you where the cops are. They tell you
where
everything's at. It's like
they're still, and they ask you, it's still police head.
How did that become okay? It's like the cops are probably sitting there like, oh God, everybody knows I'm right here. Like, I mean, there's no element of surprise anymore. All that's alleviated. It's all gone.
If you think about one of the first traffic light cameras that gave you a ticket was Wise Avenue in Church. Right by KFC.
Oh, flip.
If I remember right, it was like 1997 or 1999. Now that I know a little bit about those types of businesses, they run off AI. So to think about just the public use of AI was probably starting in the 90s, which means the government probably had it in the 50s.
Yeah,
and because of DARPA and things like that. So these things have been in place for a long time. So there are just like iPhone. They probably I have no idea what system we're on with iOS something, but they probably have.
Well, it's the 17th iPhone.
Yeah, so they probably like technology wise, they probably have iPhone 30 that the secret people do. Yeah,
they're working on it. They push it that far into the future.
At least 5 generations.
At least 5 more generations ahead.
Because technology does change.
That they're waiting. They're waiting for.
And this way, they continue to make money by selling an old product that we think is new. But there's so many things with AI that we just need to make sure we do these things correctly. I don't know what's going to happen at East Point, but there are too many warehouses going up, and I think everyone's in agreement except the warehouse builders or whatever. But, depending upon what we can change, to get back to that question about, some of the plans I have that are realistic, what I really want to do is bring in high paying career jobs. Now, it's going to be very tough to bring back actually manufacturing steel, but we can do other things down here that where we can honor our tradition of having blue collar trades jobs down here. And I want to also push that we start trades careers in maybe like the 8th grade. So people who are interested in welding or they're interested in plumbing, electricity, they can actually begin that program instead of being forced into a college path that doesn't work for everybody.
That's why you have Eastern and you have Solars. Yep. But also, I do agree, we do definitely need more trade schools. I went to Eastern Votech myself. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time there. Learned a lot. But County does need more trade schools. And trades that AI and robots not taking over, electricians, HVAC, plumbers, carpenters, heavy equipment operators, even though sometimes AI might take that over eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's easy to do. Real quick, let me give it some questions here.
Yeah.
Well, this is more of a statement, but Nick Blackburn, he's like our.
I've seen that name. Yeah.
He says, GM. I guess we were talking about like what's best kind of like cultivation kind of thing. Geothermal would be best, he says, as far as some of what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
Tim, he's got a
but that's
question.
not.
He said, Tim, if they are you willing to work with the current Republicans in your district that sit in other political seats? That's the question.
Yeah. So to answer that, yes, and I've done that completely with like Delegate Bob Long. I can tell you, like I was with Councilman Mangione the other day. Was at one of my events. Councilman David Marks was at my event. So there are ways that we need to work together. And I think that we can lead and not necessarily follow. Even though the Republicans are in the minority in this county, you have to set the example and make the people that are the voters put the pressure on the other party to say, do what this group of people are saying. And that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and he also had another question. It kind of is combined with the first one a little bit, if you ask me. But Nick says, Tim, if they are you willing to work with current Republicans that will most likely win re-election that you don't see eye to eye with?
Oh, of course. Look, I'll say it right here. Like Millsy and I, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, but we do have the same vision for the end goal. We want everybody to be happy, we want to be prosperous, and things like that. There are ways that we need to figure that out. There's different style, and I think there's a change in both political parties that we're seeing happening. So, yeah, there's obviously going to be give and take. And obviously, for what I want to do down in Dundalk and this whole District 9, there has to be some give and take.
So I don't mean to change on you, Derek. But listen, I think it's just the Wall Street Journal. I just read something's going down on Trade Point. Boat drones.
I didn't know you read. I didn't know you could read. Period.
Oh,
So
you want to go there? Is that where you want to go? Oh, he took a shot.
well, see, he went to.
Oh no,
He went to
private school.
No, I didn't.
Still can't read.
I did not. I went to Eastern, sir.
Eastern Tech,
Yeah,
right there off.
I went
Mace Avenue.
I went to Dundalk.
He went to
baby.
Dundalk. So okay. So let's not
Yeah.
talk about. Let's not talk about education here.
I always
So-
wondered what that school was like. It's like this. It just sits right there, like.
It's a phenomenal school.
Yeah, it's
Number one school in
Maryland. Yeah.
Maryland. Yeah,
It's been up there.
a lot of times. Yes, sir.
That's cool.
I got stories
I
about
used to
that
go
school
there- I
too,
used to
but
go there just like play tennis, because they got the tennis.
I can see you playing tennis.
I'm going to give I'm going to give a shout out to actually one of my friends, best man at my wedding, Steve Strain. He went to Eastern, studied he studied computer graphic stuff, but he was studying to be an HVAC tech master, and he owns Modern Heating and Air Conditioning on Eastern Avenue. So there are people.
Tell him we want some merch for that shout.
Yeah, there you go, dude. So
hey, I like a hats.
So I got to say, when I was I used to play in a touring rock band. We did covers and stuff, and all the guys in the band were either master electricians, master HVAC, plumbers, all this stuff, except me. I'm the only one who went to college, and they all made more money than me. So there's definitely a shift that can happen. But
in the first years, like after you get out of trade school, compared to college, in the first years, you're going to make that large amount of money. Again, it's going to depend upon what your degree is. You will make that money in trade.
Yeah.
But
Wall Street Journal. So there's been a story saying that the Navy will be building some ships basically here in Sparrows Point. And look, I've been trying for over a year, if not longer, to get federal infrastructure here. So the question used to be, Woodlawn has the Social Security Administration building. Why doesn't Dundalk have something like that? The people that work at Social Security, they make probably 70, 80,000 a year. I'm just making up a number. The FBI building was supposed to come to Maryland, then it's not. Now maybe it is again. Who knows? But why don't we have something like that? So we've been trying to get the federal government to do something here, and it looks like they've heard our requests, and they might be building the new naval fleet here, without getting into too much national politics. They're calling it the Golden Fleet. If they could build, well, somebody loves gold. Somebody loves gold. but
I'm just going to leave it alone.
But
I'm not even going to touch this.
But the article you probably saw talks about a company. It's owned by another one of these like AI guys. He invented Oculus, like the virtual reality stuff, and he's like a younger version of Elon in a sense. And his company would be doing a lot of the drones on these boats. And to think about that, you would have thousands of jobs of $100,000 just jobs, probably welders, electricians, AI type guys, fabricators, any of these types of jobs coming back here. That is historically what Dundalk has always been. And I've always said we really were the heartbeat of America, because you had rich, poor, affluent, poverty, in middle class, white, black, everything. And it used to be you could not become the governor of Maryland unless you won Dundalk. That is what we are actually going to be hopefully moving towards, bringing in these high-paying trades jobs, blue-collar jobs, federal backing, which means they're going to have to be responsible for the water and stuff like that if this comes to fruition. And we're going to be the powerhouse of not only Baltimore County, but the state. And the federal government's going to be really involved and invested in this area, because this is a great area for boats or anything military, because it's in the center of the Mid-Atlantic on our coast.
Right.
And look, I'm just going to be honest. We have the best people in the world right here in Dundalk area. So, even though we got Millsy and we got Derek, we got plenty of you guys out there to make up for them.
He took a shot at you, Derek.
Oh,
he's going to get, That's okay. All right. So now my next question is, do you in District 9, does it how far in Essex does it go to? Like ST Engineering, they just started building new warehouses to put in more equipment to hire more jobs there. My son works there. Great plant to work for, union jobs. I think they're going to be hiring another 300-400 people there. Do you go that far? 9 no. That far? Is that
we stop right at the 8? We stop right at the bridge. So right at it becomes 8 there. You got a guy named Josh Sines up there who's a good guy I've been working with. But we stop right at the Back River treatment plant at that bridge. Okay. Everything over that bridge is a different district. So Essex is completely separated from us.
Now let's talk about the poop plant, your favorite discussion.
Who owns the poop plant?
That's Baltimore City. It's just that's how it is. But there's got to be something done about the smell.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just rancid.
Like 2 days ago, it might have been yesterday.
It was rancid.
So
it was bad.
One of the goals that I have, maybe this would be a whopper of a goal, but it's going to make somebody accountable for that plant. Now, a little background. Not many people know this, but not only my brother, my father, my grandfather, my uncle, all worked for basically the Department of Public Works in Baltimore City. My brother actually retired from the plant, and then they didn't have enough qualified people, so he had to come back. So the plant, and I've been on tours in there and everything, it has a lot of issues. It's a lot better than it was a couple of years ago. But I asked the operator a few months ago, I said, look, tell me why we have this problem. Now, I used to work in that field somewhat with wastewater, mainly medical waste and stuff like that. But I've been into wastewater treatment plants, and I said, look, I don't smell this when I go to Delaware and all these places. And he's like, well, I smell it when I go to here. And I'm like, I haven't. I was like, and I'm telling you, this problem is worse since the early 90s, or actually since the early 80s. You can look, if you pull up microfiche, and we're old if I say that, but if you pull up some old articles, but if you look up stories, you didn't really see smell issues. I mean, I'm sure there were smell issues in the 70s and 60s, but you didn't see it as bad as it is until the 83. There started being stories on this. So The question is, what's causing it? Now, they told me they think it's a pressure valve issue that they can't find that's pushing it whenever it's getting pressurized, it's pushing it out towards Walmart.
The methane.
Yes. So my thought was, okay, well, if that's the issue, then fix it. Well, there's nothing on the plans to fix it. So my next thought was, I'm good friends with Rob Daniels, and you know Rob. Rob's an independent. He's an attorney for the state. I'm not going to give up too much on this stuff. And people like him, I think, would be great at being an IG, basically, someone to audit the county and things like that. But at the same time, people like him, we could get to end up turning around and suing Baltimore City and saying this is a smell pollution, and you are going to be responsible, and you're going to pay us until you get this fixed.
Now, I thought at one point they were pressurizing the methane and bottling it. Now, I don't know if they're still doing it or if they did it, but I was under the impression that they were bottling the methane gases for resale. Now, I might be wrong, but if not, we could.
Yeah. So what I know about it is Synagro, I believe, is still on site, and they basically take the waste, the manure and stuff, and they pelletize it, and then they sell it for fertilizer. So that might be kind of what we're talking about here. Not completely sure, but bottom line is we should not have to be sitting here wondering what it is. Somebody needs to figure it out, and that person needs to figure it out is Baltimore City. And they don't care because that land used to be in the city, and I think it was annexed to the county in like the late 40s, before East Point, right when they were planning like the East Point Mall, Colgate, Berkshire development, all that. That has to be taken care of, and it's not our issue to have to deal with it. So the city is going to be responsible for it. I'm going to find a way, and I can't promise it like this. This is going to be my whopper. I'm going to find a way to put them responsible for it. And you know what? If the feds come here and they start building boats, and they're going to be like, "What is that shit smell?" Then that's maybe where you're going to have Lee Zeldin, head of EPA, might be like, "Oh, we stepping in on that."
I always say, you want something to get fixed, you have somebody with power come sit there for a couple hours. That's how you get it fixed.
So it's unfortunate that, you know, look, we've had our jokes about Dundalk and Essex and all that stuff, but it's unfortunate for many years. Nobody should have to live like
man, that's
smelling that thing. Yeah,
at times
it hurts. It hurts. You drive by and you're like, oh man.
Okay to breathe that kind of stuff.
Parts per million, more than likely, probably. You know, because that's how they're going to measure it. So,
but you know, when you drive past and you hit it, you're like, oh man, it's on my lip.
Oh, it's just it's like a wall.
Yeah,
it's just
it's like you're right. It's a wall. It's like as soon as you cross a certain area, or what's that coming?
Yeah, that North Point there, and
right, North Point, Merritt Boulevard, that whole little.
I used to work at Chick-fil-A in the 90s when I was in high school and in college, and in East Point, yeah. And shout out to Steve Pavlovsky. He runs the one on White Marsh now too. Look at that, getting more money for
Chick-fil-A. That was a shout out. So you know, we want some merch. I like hats.
The one thing that I remember, the first time I heard somebody outside of the area really complaining was a guy named Ock. He used to be on 98 Rock, and he would do Ock in the Box. And he would go out by the old Firestone where there's a McDonald's there now, and he would stay in like a coffin for the whole weekend, and he would raise money for charity. So 98 Rock would be advertising there, and I just remember Ock saying something like, "I love doing this, but can we please do it somewhere else so I don't have to smell this plant anymore?" And when he said it, it kind of hurt because I'm like, you know, we laugh about it because we know. Because we're family.
We grew up in this. We know what we're getting.
Yeah. But to hear somebody else talk about how bad it is and they didn't want to come back here, then you're like, you know what? That is true. Like, well, we shouldn't have to live like that. And it's hurting us. It's hurting our reputation. Somebody's got to fix that. And it's ultimately Baltimore City's responsibility. I just wonder if there's been deals with Baltimore County and the city basically to say, we're going to overlook this. And in return, the county gets something from the city. I don't know. But we're going to find out.
Can I tell you a quick little cool story about Dundalk? So this is before I moved out here. This is many years ago. So I was working for Foreign Motors, the used car side on Bel Air Road. Scott Donahue. You remember?
Oh, yeah.
Look. He obviously you do because I thought I was going to have to say it, but you beat me to it. So Scott Donahue, who I met, by the way, and he had all the Donahue, the Foreign Motors commercials. You remember the Foreign Motors commercials?
I remember.
They were wild. Anyway, so for his used car section department, he had new cars up the street, a little further up. Then he had the used cars, which I worked at for a short period of time, and there was the sales manager there, Michael Brooks, had family in Dundalk. And this is before I moved and knew anything about Dundalk, because all you ever heard, to your point about Dundalk, oh, it stinks, they're inbreds. This is how people talk about Dundalk. It was crazy. And Michael Brooks pulled me up one day. He heard me talking about it. He was like, hey, don't say that again. I got family out there. He was so I didn't ask many more questions because he's basically my boss. I ain't really I left it alone. But that's how, to your point, when you hear someone else, now I do the same thing. Whoa. I live in Dundalk. I love Dundalk. I don't even have any plans or aspirations of moving out of Dundalk right now. You follow me? But back then, I'm younger, and that's what you hear. That's the consensus of people outside of your area.
Oh, you live in Dundalk?
You live in Dundalk's trash. They're all trash. They're all, whatever. So I just wanted to tell that story. Michael Brooks, if you happen to catch this feed, it's crazy. It's crazy how people talk about certain communities. Yeah,
even though it's a hardworking blue collar area, it just doesn't click with some people.
Right. We are family. And like family, we can say bad stuff about each other and our own community, but you don't. Yeah. Bottom line is nobody should have to live like that, and there has to be some resolution to this. And we're going to explore every option to get this done. But I think pressure has to be applied where it's going to hit hardest, and that's in the city.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
Are we? Is it time? Are we closing up?
8:00 exactly.
8:00. Look at that.
Damn.
Hey, thank you for tuning in to the Punch Podcast with Jim Mills and Derek Schroman and special guest.
Oh, we're good for a little bit longer if we want. No, I'm good. A couple minutes.
Before we wrap, obviously, I just wanted to real quick here. We're still hot. Shouts out to everyone that helps out on the show. Shouts out to Scotty B. Clark, who would have been here. He's our producer. He's been working heavy. So appreciate you, man. Wish you could have been here tonight, but it's okay. We'll get you back soon. Shouts out to Alexis, who works there. She's working right now. Appreciate you as well and everything you do to help keep this show going. Dana Bradburn, that's my love.
Recently.
Where'd you see her at?
Oh, I should have said that.
Hey, you better tell me right now where you saw.
Well, I'm going to tell you where I saw her in just a second here, but I do just want to say Scott, he also does some like remodeling and like hauling stuff. So if you need somebody, Scott Clark, he and I talk about that kind of stuff. Look at stuff. I am plugging everybody tonight. I'm on fire.
Scott,
so
I like hats.
I was with one of our good family. The past week. I was with two of the families from the area that really had some personal tragedy. One was Todd Hines, who lost his life in January on North Point, and they had a birthday celebration for him there. But a few days before that, we were with Denver's Legacy, and Dana was there, and we were there for talking for a while, and she was there with some like 6'7" dude. He was all ripped and young.
Black or white?
Black.
Derek's been replaced.
So no, but that's where I saw her. But with Kerry Bullins and Sean and those guys, with Denver.
And Denver. Yeah, it's tragic what happened to him right there on North Point. I go that way every day. I literally go that way every day. I see the heart in the road. I see his name in the road. I see the memorial set up for him and Carrie. I never got a chance to meet her son, but I wish I did. And there's a chance that I probably did and just didn't know who he was. That's the crazy thing about that.
Now, Here's the thing: us here being your potential constituents in the near future, if you win, can we call you directly?
Yeah.
I got his cell phone number, everybody.
Everybody knows that.
No, I want to tell you one of my concerns. I live on Solars Point Road, between Belclair and Dundalk Avenue.
Okay.
All right, so if you know the area.
Yep. By the
My
marina
biggest
right there.
problem is that I have, and it bothers me. I have tractor trailers
I knew you was going there.
coming down my road multiple times a day.
Yep.
When the sign clearly says nothing more than 3/4 ton. Derek, how much is just a tractor by itself?
5 tons.
Just a tractor by itself.
Well, the tractor by itself, without the truck itself, is. I mean, it's you do
1.5, 2 tons.
Close. It's
Right.
it's more than 3/4.
Right. And an empty tractor trailer is how much?
I don't know.
A lot.
4.
It's still a lot.
It's close to 4 tons.
The point is, it's over 3/4, bro.
It's over 3/4 ton.
3/4 ton is
Right.
not a full ton.
So this last
think
year,
about that. That's how you look at that.
I'm having my drywall is cracking.
Mm-hmm.
My foundation's resettling, and I had a pipe break, which they thought it was from vibration because how it was broke.
Yep.
So I have these big tractor trailers coming on my road that's not built for it, and nobody is doing anything. I've already called the county. They said that they'd have to do a study.
Yeah. We know that good.
I think they put in a height
Camera thing.
camera. Well, I haven't been able to find any information if warnings have been given or even if tickets have been handed out. Because the way to stop these things from coming down my road is to give them a ticket.
So look, just real quick. I'll take this off your hands real quick. Just real quick here. I drive trucks. I manage a fleet of truck drivers that include tractor trailers. Okay. In our case, I mean, and I'm not, we can talk about the Key Bridge all day. We can do that. But at the end of the day, there's only certain roads that we can travel. By the way, GPS, even truckers apps are going to send you down certain roads.
I know.
They're going to send you down certain roads. And if you're going through those roads, there's not many other alternatives. So again, you're trying to imagine if you were you're trying yourself.
No,
you're trying to
get. The problem is you're trying to get there on the shortest route instead of taking the correct route. Well, that's the problem.
Well, no,
because damn well that's a residential neighborhood, and the truck should not be on those residential neighborhoods.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's so quick to end up in a residential neighborhood. Now, you have people that they're habitual rule breakers, right? So if like Johnny, yeah. Shouts out to John. You break the rules all the time. Yeah, breaking the law. No. So anyway, so it's not everyone. You can't. If I ended up down your road, now I don't drive tractor trailer. However, my truck fully loaded, 36,000 pounds. Okay, is what my B truck is registered to carry, and I end up on your road. Guess what, Mills? I'm driving through your neighborhood, and if you had took a picture of me in the cab, you'd be like, "Holy, that's Derek. He knows he's not supposed to be coming down my road." So. But it doesn't.
This is why I say warning.
It's habitual stuff.
Is it
so
warning?
Getting to your point,
and then ticket.
He's right. So that you have to, it's kind of one bad apple ruins the bunch, right? So it's certain people that know that there's other ways to go. They're the ones violating. It's not everyone.
I'm just
that was the point I was trying to make.
If it's look,
but you're right.
If that's happening to my house, how many other houses is that happening on that road? So,
it's literally tearing up your house, your infrastructure of your house.
I had to replace my whole kitchen last year, right?
So let's take this back to
because you had Tony come in, Spagnola come
Spags.
We're going to take this to channel 2. We'll take it to the root of the problem. There's a couple things. One, the Key Bridge being down. 2, you have a lot more truck traffic, place of like Trade Point. Now, I live in Beechwood Estates, and I had the same exact issue. If you know where Beechwood is, it's kind of a closed community. We kept having 18-wheelers coming in there, and you're like, how did you even get here?
Yeah.
They can't get out. They can't turn around. And I'm like, I had to help them get out and stuff. And I get it. Look, and I take, I get the drivers. They're like, I don't know, I'm just lost. And so I'm like, okay. So, yeah, maybe I'm sure there are some bad ones like Derek or whatever. I'm joking there. But the thing is, I went to Trade Point, and I said, look, you guys are an anchor now in this area, and I can't just yell at you and get stuff done. I said, I need to work with you somehow. And he said, what is important for the community? And there were a couple of things. One was about people from our area having the ability to get those jobs at Trade Point, and that number has increased. But the second thing was the truck traffic. And I do have to say, with my partners at Trade Point, one thing that they did was, and I may be getting the companies wrong, but I think Amazon did a GPS block so that their drivers were not sent down certain roads. But I don't think they ever got it with, say, FedEx or some other companies. So we have to work with the why these people are doing these things, because it didn't happen in the past, not as frequent. And that bridge is another thing. So now, yeah, and I got to say, with the bridge,
it's not a tunnel. And pardon me. It's not a tunnel. There's no hazardous restrictions. You're talking about trucks that cannot go through the tunnel, Mills.
Buddy.
They have to stay outside of.
I get it, but
with hazardous material. But that's a hazardous material.
That's not coming down my road.
Riding right down your road.
That's not coming down my road.
That shouldn't be tolerated either.
So I think what's important is to have people who are elected to represent us have to have a vision on how to get these things solved. So the one thing that I started pushing last year was, you know what, with the Key Bridge funding that we're getting from the federal government, we should be getting money to repair our streets, because our streets are a direct result of that Key Bridge.
Of the Key Bridge. Okay.
And
exactly.
We have it in the budget now for Baltimore County to fix our roads. Now, I do have to say, and this isn't verified, so I don't want to cast the blame completely yet, but I was told that money that was allocated this year for Dundalk roads was moved to take care of one of the beach issues in off Turkey Point. And it was the tune of $5 million. And I don't have the specifics. I can't verify that. But if that's the case, then you have people right here that represent us that actually said, yeah, I'm going to send that money there. Screw these people. Now, I get it. Decisions have to be made, but that was the wrong decision, because part of our role is the infrastructure has to be safe. Safety comes first when we take care of our people, and then costs and things like that. So those are the things that are going to be addressed, and we're going to find ways. And this is where you have to give and take. When that question came about, can I work with other people? You know what? I may not want, I don't know, some funding to go to, I don't know, Upperco, but you know what? If that funding goes there, I can get what we need here. So obviously there's the fiscal constraints about money and things like that, but these are the things that have to happen, the give and take. My priority, and people know this, is our community. I don't care what's really going on in the rest of the world or the country outside of Satan. I do, but number one is us.
But we got to focus. And let me tell you something. I knew Mills was going to say that. I wish I could have jumped in right before. No, because he messaged me. He said, Derek, and he knows what I do. You know. Yeah. He said, can you come and do a cover story on these tractor trailers driving through my neighborhood? And I said, yeah. I mean, we never did it, but I knew, and that's been. I mean, it was last year? Like a year ago.
It was last year.
He said that to me, and I knew right then, out of all the things he could have said, that's what he was going to say. And I was right.
Trash man breaking my trash can,
and I was right.
They broke 3 trash cans in the last 6 months. Trash cans are $40.
Those guys,
they're not cheap.
Those guys are a whole nother story. But they're subcontractors. A lot of people don't know.
I know they're subcontractors. They're not contractors. They're not county contractors.
They come and they do what they do.
They get hired, right? They throw your shit around. They don't care. They break your stuff.
And speaking of trucks, you had that tractor trailer slam into the house on Dundalk Avenue last month.
Yeah.
Now I got to say, the first thing I noticed, besides the unfortunate damage, was the 2 houses next to it had some Fazenbaker signs. So I was like, oh, this is great. It's free advertising, right? I'm talking to the person and somebody there, and the one sign got knocked down from the truck. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's the house I used to party at. One of the guys in my band lived in that house, and that
That's
guy
why they were there. He didn't know any better.
He was looking for us.
But they didn't know any better. That's what it is.
But yeah, I mean, there are things that, and I don't know the specifics of what happened there, but I think we saw a good example of. I'm not saying you were accusing drivers necessarily, and you weren't defending them completely, but we're fighting amongst each other for little things that other people above us caused. So we need to fix that issue so it trickles down to us so we stop having issues.
Gives me a great segue. The last 15 minutes. All right. Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Our current administration. Donald J. Trump. Now,
I'm not talking political. I'm not talking national politics.
Listen. All I want to say real quick is, I agree. Mills knows my story. Man served in the Navy. I would die for that man. This man has did his time. You know what I mean? So
you know what Navy stands for?
What's that?
I don't know if your wife ever told you. Never again volunteer yourself.
Never again volunteer yourself. Have you saw pictures of him online right now? You'd be like, that's not him. That's good. Because when I saw a picture of him now, you're starting to look a little because you're done trimmed down now. But anyway, so administrations do what they do, right? They come in with an agenda. They try to the current administration, they try to fix stuff that the old administration did. So when I was coming up, I realized that it was one thing as a little kid you realize like, okay, well, hey, when I went to Germany, Ford was president. When I got to Germany, Reagan took office. This is 1980.
You're old.
This is 1980. I left to go to Germany when I was 4 years old. Okay. So, I get there and, it's like, oh, Ronald Reagan, who's one of my favorite presidents, by the way. You know what I mean? Him, Clinton, and I think that. But listen, I love Trump, but he's not my favorite president. Just saying. But I like his diligence. You know what I mean? I like when he attacks things and goes at it. He's yawning, Mills is yawning. That's okay. I can't say the last administration was the best, but I missed one. And Bill Clinton, that era. That was so. Oh, did I say it? Oh yeah. So Clinton, that was the best 8 years of my life. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I love Bill Clinton. All the dirty laundry that came out and everything. I did not care. I did not care. You follow me?
Oh, of course.
So,
He didn't pay Monica.
No. Do you feel, because I'm all about checks and balances, do you feel that there is a time, and I know how you are as a conservative, and so am I, do you feel that there's a time for conservative leadership and liberal leadership? Be honest. Don't lie. Don't lie to me, Tim.
So if I'm understanding your question right.
So you're gonna. So we don't know what the next election is gonna bring. This is Trump's last go around.
Here's.
So you follow
this
me?
Is,
so
I know what you're saying. I have an answer for that.
There's a time in the world.
Up until wait.
I'm not talking about America.
No, wait,
I'm talking about the world.
Up until the Tea Party, there were Obama and the leader of the GOP would go golfing every week and negotiate on things weekly about what's getting done for America. When the Tea Party came along, they stopped it. They kicked him out. They said, no, you're not going to sit down with the president anymore. And many presidents did it. Tip O'Neill did it with Ronald Reagan. They would sit down and have dinner together, talk about moving the country forward. Once we stop sitting down with the other side, that's what caused the divisiveness in America. And
that's all I'm saying.
And it's got to a point, it's my way or no way, and that's not the correct way. We're never going to get out of this unless we sit down together and figure it out.
So
that's all I say.
So there is, if for both sides to really understand this, there is a necessity to have both sides. Look, if you're straight up conservative and you don't have any empathy or emotion, or you don't want to share anything to help people.
We know a few of them.
Yeah, I mean there are people like that. So, but so then you have a country of just a few powerful people, and then you have a lot of people that are not. Opposite of that, if you have people that are just bleeding heart and all they do is want to help and care, and then all of a sudden you have a country with no actual infrastructure or leadership or people to take responsibility. You need both. They complement each other. I think the issue currently, though, is what you're seeing is you're seeing what I've always been afraid of since I was a little kid, that eventually the one side, the left side, would end up breaking apart within itself. And maybe you can touch on this in a second. Now you have the far left now, which are calling themselves socialists, and then you have the Democrat establishment, who are, let's just say, the traditional Democrats. What I'm afraid of even more is the far left Democrat socialists are end up going to be replaced by jihadists, and you're going to have
God.
theocratic.
Stop talking Fox News talk points, Tim.
I don't even watch Fox, but
I do watch
Fox, but
look. No, no, stop.
You're exactly right.
First of all right, first let's talk about the First Amendment. All right. Freedom of religion. All right. So that goes back onto that. It's their right to be Muslim and to run for office. Okay.
I got to say one thing. I didn't say Muslim. I said jihadist, but
well,
I said that for a reason.
You know what you're saying, Tim. You're not a dumb man.
I have Muslim friends.
You know exactly what you're saying.
It's not the religion.
I know some Muslims too.
I have a lot of them, a lot of friends. But again, I think that because of the current administration and their fleecing of America, this is why you're getting this socialist Democrat that are coming in office. And free health care for everyone. It's not so bad.
That's throughout the rest of the world too, by the way.
Oh, throughout Europe they have free health care, free education.
That's why
I'm okay with that.
That's why I said that.
If you think about it and you do the math, because I'm a numbers guy, you actually pay out of your own pocket, including let's go with prescriptions. Let's go with copays. Let's go with your deductible. You're paying out of your pocket anywhere from 11 to 15% of your income. Now, they could do a universal health care in the United States by adding 6% of taxes to your to what they take out of your butt, what they take out,
because it comes
out universal health care to everyone, which saves everybody 5%.
We wouldn't even see it.
Which saves which saves you 5%, and turn around save the country $1 trillion a year.
No, taxpayers, and I actually talked about this with my personal doctor. We get into political conversations sometimes. Ultimately, and he was right on this, is the taxpayers get what they want. They should. If that's what they want, then they should be able to have universal health care. I'm not saying whether I'm for it or not.
Why they won't. We'll never get it. Why? Because medical insurance companies, how much money they put into politics is why we're never ever going to see. So, and I'll tell you, do you know when the first time universal health care was brought up to Congress? 1919. Do you know who the major opponent was?
It was Woodrow Wilson, right?
Yeah. No, the major opponent.
Oh, well, he was the president. But.
Right, he was the president. The major opponent was the American Medical Association. They said doctors would leave.
They don't want to do. It's not going to happen here.
They don't want. It's not going to happen because of money.
They don't want it to happen here.
How many CEOs are going to be out of business if we go to universal health care?
It's too much money involved.
So. Again, we have an honest debate on this whole situation, right? And I think we all agree we want people to be taken care of. We want it to be the least amount of cost. Let's tie it back to AI. What if AI were to change that, and all of a sudden you remove the financial advantage for these companies? So all of a sudden you have, if we can start curing cancer. You think that's trillions of dollars. Now, people are going to find ways to scheme and get money.
How much are they going to cost? I mean, look what they did to the EpiPen.
Yeah,
that's the big argument right there.
So instead of us maybe, and I'm not saying it's not healthy to have these debates. Instead of us to have these debates, if we can fix and outsmart them, and we fix the problem by going, I'm just making an example, AI. All of a sudden the game's change. They're going to find ways to get us again, but bottom line is we need to keep
but you gotta
together.
It's like playing chess.
Yeah.
You got to counter their move.
You counter it by taking businesses, because states give businesses their power. You take it by taking the state and taking away their donation power by the state. So businesses, these large major corporations, can't donate to political movements.
Yeah, but you're talking about federal level.
I'm talking that's federal, state, and county level.
I get it, but
I mean,
but
you do that.
It starts there and trickles down. You can't do that as individuals. We're talking about. I think most people, when you're watching a show, most people want to know what they can do. Like, when you talk to people. When you talk to people,
vote the right people in.
Yeah.
Get rid of these people that's been sitting there for 30 years that complain that they only make $174,000 a year, and it's not enough for them. That they need to trade stocks.
I know we got to end up in a second. I do want to say this, and I haven't mentioned this before publicly. Like, I was not a fan of Lindsey Graham because I considered him a war hawk, but.
You battled Republicans since the day I met you.
That is true because
the day I met you.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
He was the He was like, you remember coming to TV Free Baltimore?
Are you kidding me? He went after what's his name? What was the old dude's name with the toupee?
We'll just skip that real quick. No, not Bob. We're just going to skip that. So, but what I'm trying to say is
ridiculous.
It's both sides, and I think it gave me credibility to say, look, I will call out things on my side that I find to be ridiculous, and I'm hoping that the other side can do the same, so we can come together.
We do,
right? So, well. We do. Not everybody around the world, or country. But what I'm wanting to say just about somebody like Lindsey Graham is I've heard that he was only worth, and I say only, but he was only worth like $1 million something. When I heard that and I thought about it, he's been in Congress since I was in high school. So
did you Google it?
No. If this is correct, what I heard, and he's only worth $1 million something, that meant out of his $180,000 that he made a year for 30 years, his money added up. If he were taking other money and things like that, like a lot of these, like say Pelosi or
1.4. Well, yeah. Pelosi's husband was a
he was
a Trumper.
Yeah.
He wasn't a Trumper. He did the same thing as Trump does.
Just investing and stuff.
And what? We can go there now if you like.
When the show's over, bro.
We can go there now if we like.
But I just want to say that if there are people, that maybe I don't even like or you don't like, but if there are people who probably do the right things.
Oh, I don't have any issues.
But we hate seeing when people get in office and they get filthy rich. And you guys talking about the businesses and stuff. Yeah, you know what? I specifically know somebody would give you $6,000 right away from a business in a local race, and then they'll have their family give you another $6,000. Their friend will give you $6,000. Somebody from the business will give you $6,000. And then you have the PACs, and you have all these.
Yep, you got to get it out.
All this money. I don't know what the right answer is, but you know what? Money does drive the way people vote, and that's something that we got to find a way to get around.
I mean, you just had Elon Musk spend $100 million last election cycle, and he said he wants $100 million, and he said he wants to buy an election this time.
He said that?
Yeah,
out loud,
like it's nothing. That's what happens when you got power like that and money like that. It's your reality is not what we are.
So it goes back to your thing. Yes, there has to be checks and balances, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I implore that, and I will say it. I've said it multiple times. I'll continue to say it. I'm not trying to alleviate no parties. If anything, I think independents need to be treated better. I think there needs to be, other ideals, brought to the table to help us, because if someone, it's not just them by themselves, because by the way, they got constituents.
No,
you have to. It can't just be always Democratic and Republican.
It's not.
You have to give.
It's money donors.
You have to
and how they vote.
Chance.
They don't give a shit about us.
We as people, like, I'm not a politician. as people, I just want the best for my family,
No.
my friends. You two are my friends.
Everybody
I
wants
want
to,
the best for my
same
friends.
thing. They want to grow old.
You know?
They want to be. They want to be able to grow old.
Yeah.
They want their children to grow up in a safe environment, get a nice education,
That's it.
and get a good job, and for them to do the same as we.
We all say the same thing, but somehow we end up in these conflicts.
No, it's not really a conflict. It's how we get there is where people disagree.
I think we have 2 minutes before we have to go, but I do want to. I'll close it with this. One other bill that I've thought about, and I had to investigate if this would actually work in the county level, is I would love to see elections without a political party label next to that name.
Yes.
And that way, they have to say Mills or Stroman when they go in, and your efforts of who you are and what you've done will proceed with.
I agree
vote.
with. I like that better. Yeah, I do like that
Because there's a mentality with teams that people have automatically. If you're a Steelers fan, you're not going to become a Ravens fan. No matter what, you will. Roethlisberger was in charge.
I don't know. I voted for Hogan, and I voted for what was the other Republican? I forget his name. Ehrlich. I liked Ehrlich.
Yeah,
I like Ehrlich. I voted for both of those guys. But again, I didn't like either.
The only president that I ever voted for was Obama, and I voted for him twice as a registered conservative. Never voted for Trump.
So what you're telling me is there's a chance?
No.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Well, I'll let you guys close it because I know we got to run.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Punch Podcast. Guest host Jim Mills here, Derek Stroman, and
In the building.
our special guest tonight, Tim Fazenbaker, who's running for Baltimore County Council District number 9 seat.
So you're telling me there's a chance? See ya.
Goodbye, all. No chance in hell. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't talked to the other guy.
The